Hey everyone, thanks for checking out this video. I plan to do like a few art up series videos, and for today, we're going to discuss a topic which is basically artist stagnation, where they don't see any kind of a growth. And I would like to give my thought process on that, like how to overcome that. Um, so it's going to be like a lot of like a small checklist that I usually have or like discuss with my students, um, and because like I know for over my career, I used to have these issues where I tend to do like a lot and like get stagnated. I don't see any kind of a growth. So yeah, we're going to like discuss all those stuff. Again, this videos is going to be like pretty short, not going to dive deep into this, but still I want to give my thought process on this because I used to get like messages like from artists where they get struck, not sure like how to proceed further. So maybe like these few insights can be really helpful for people who is just like starting out, want to get better at their art. So yeah, let's dive into it. The first thing that I see, the common drawbacks is basically they tend to follow, let's say, a particular artist. They try to imitate them and try to follow the style, like, oh yeah, what brushes they use, and like they get too much deep into like the stuff that's very fancy, which is not really important at all. And if you're just beginning, I would emphasize and encourage you guys to like focus on the fundamentals, break it down into chunks and try to like focus on one area. So that's the first thing I would encourage anyone like who is just starting out. Don't follow the trends, don't follow the styles or the brushes, doesn't matter in the initial phases. All it matters is like working on your foundations is the key. So the another thing that I see very common in artists is they don't have any kind of an intention or goals, um, and they try to follow like, okay, the artist, this particular artist is doing this type of images, I'm going to follow the same kind of a theme. They're not sure whether they want to do those kind of images or subject matters, so they don't have much of a clarity. So the first key component that everyone need to have is the clear goal, an idea of like why you're doing something in certain, like why you're doing this in a particular reason. What is the outcome, like why am I doing this in first place? So you just need to have the vision and clarity. That is really really crucial. So yeah, let me just like start breaking down. And again, this is like a real-time video, so we're going to like discuss about this topic. um, let's say the first thing that we need to avoid is like don't follow the trend. All right. And you don't need to like worry about like especially the brushes, the style. These things doesn't matter at all. And this is why artists get struck at the same place, because like we tend to jump between different things very frequently, right? Like you see someone post on Instagram, you tend to like recreate the same kind of a stuff, then you get bored of doing that stuff, then try to do some other stuff like next week. So you keep jumping between different things and trying different things. At the end of the day, you don't see any kind of a progress. And that's the first and foremost thing is like we don't follow the trend. Start with the basics. All right, like we shouldn't do this. And start with the basics. And when you're starting with the basics, again, don't make this mistake, which is don't try to do everything at the same time. All right, like let's say we have like a lot of areas to focus. Let's say values, color, composition, design, story, lot more stuff. All right, and I encourage you to like take an ample amount of time and focus on one thing at a time. Like let's say maybe maybe 50 to 60 days of time to just like focus on one area, maybe like values and composition. You want to get better at that, so you forget about the color, you forget like about like designs and crazy storytelling. We can still think about like stories and stuff, because we're not going to do like random abstract images. We still need to be like very intentional of like what we are doing, but keep it simple. Just focus on one thing at a time. And that's a common thing that I see in beginners images. Like they tend to do everything at the same time, and sometimes the problem is like you can't consume all those information right at the same time. So try to break it down into chunks. Start simple and give ample amount of time to see a progress. And I highly recommend a minimum of like 60 days to see progress. I'm going to show you a certain examples from my personal project and like how I would approach the stuff that we are discussing right now. And let's say because like the first initial few weeks it will be like really difficult. So this is like 2 months, so which is like close to 8 weeks of time, 8 to 9 weeks of time. And first couple of weeks will be like pretty vague. You're not sure like how, you don't get like really good images, and you'll be still struggling. And so that's why we don't want to do something for 2 weeks then straight away jump into next subject matter. And that's another common problem that I see very often in artists, where they do like a weapon design for 2 weeks, then they see someone like who is doing like, let's say, architecture design. They want to jump into architecture design, so they keep jumping. That's the important issue that we need to address. And so I highly encourage you guys to like don't follow this trend, and take a good ample amount of time. And you don't need to prove anyone. This is for you. This is for your growth. All right. So yeah, start with the basics. Keep it simple. Pick one area. Give yourself a project for a little bit of amount of time, and so you need to keep doing this again and again and again. So it's not just like a one thing that we'll do for like a lifetime, right? Like, okay, if I'm going to do like a values for 60 days, I need to keep coming back at it and improving my foundations again and again. So yeah, so that's the second thing. Start with the basics. Forget about the trend. Forget about the style. Forget about the brushes. The third thing that I want to talk is like, let's say, the growth mindset. So if you're starting and doing something for 60 days, all right, so we are repeating certain things. Like every day we are doing something for ourselves. Sometimes like after you do for a while, you'll see that progress, a slight improvement, and you need to wait for that. For me at least, like it will take like 2 weeks to 3 weeks to get into the zone of doing really complex images with good storytelling and understanding. So you need to wait for that moment. You can't give up at the early phase. And the tip that I can give over here is, when you're doing this process, try to reflect back. Let's say if you're doing images, say a set of images for a week, then on Sunday you can just try to reflect back on what went right, and analyzing what are the things that went right, what are things are not going well. So you just like go and do a study of that, and then reiterate that for the next week, because like we can't go 60 days without reflection. Reflection is really important. Then the next thing is, let's say, doing with intention. This is a common thing that I don't see very often with the beginner artists, is like they don't do something with intention. They start images, they want to post on Instagram, all right? They want to post on Instagram every day because someone is doing that. They are focusing too much on the followers and like likes and comments and stuff. They forget about the intention, why they are doing it. And if you forget this, if you don't have the clarity of like why you're doing certain things, uh, um, you get stagnated easily, because like you don't have a clarity, you don't have a purpose, and then you'll be on that loop of like you're trying everything, but you don't see any kind of a growth. This is the reason. The clarity is the reason, right? So this one needs to connect to your main goals basically. And knowing your why is really, really important. So do with intention. Okay, why do I need to get better at values? And why do I need to draw a certain subject matter? What is the purpose? What is the intention behind that? So start asking those questions. And the more you do with intention, you will see a huge, huge growth. Cool. Let me scale this. Yeah, I think the another problem that I think like I did it early in my career is speed paint. All right. Yeah, doing something very fast doesn't mean is like you are good at it, right? Oh yeah, I've did this image in 30 minutes and trying to post it in Instagram or social media and telling that like, oh, I did this image in 30 minutes. No one cares about that. And in a professional standpoint, what really matters is that like how your story and design is being translated to the final product, and like so that's what is really, really important. Like no one cares about whether that you did it in 30 minutes or 30 hours. What matters is like the final product that you're delivering. That is what is really, really important. Cool. So yeah, do it with intention and ask why am I doing this in first place, and get the clarity. That is really, really important. And then you will automatically see the growth basically. Then the next thing that I want to talk about is like this is like really, really important topic. Do something that you really like. Draw something that you really like. Don't try to imitate others. Like let's say an artist A is drawing mountains, artist B is drawing trees and stuff, all right? And they really like the subject matter, and you don't need to like follow that. Let's say start sketching, painting something that you are passionate about, that you really like something about that subject matter in first place, right? This is a common pitfall I see in artists, is like they tend to like draw, oh okay, I'm going to draw this for a week, I'm going to draw this for a week, and without knowing the purpose and the clarity, and then they think like, okay, I'm not enjoying much, all right? So my advice is like start drawing something that you're passionate about. Start drawing subject matter that you really like. This is very much crucial, all right? So yeah, then don't wait for the perfection, all right? Let's say we talked about like doing it for like a little bit like a longer duration to see the progress. So let's say if you're doing something for 60 days, right? Yeah, you have a certain goal and a clarity of the things that you're going to do for 60 days. What I would suggest is like the first week or second week, it won't be really good. But still, what I would encourage is like once you finish an artwork, try to put it out there in the internet, right? And this is not to get likes or comments. This is to tell people that you are doing something that you're passionate about, and this is to track your own progress. And this is really, really crucial, right? Like, okay, first week is done. I'm going to dump everything, then move on to different stuff. So I also don't want to make everything perfect and put it out there internet, because there's no such thing as like perfect artwork, right? Because you keep evolving as you progress in your art journey. Let's say you're doing something right now. If you take a look back in the next 5 or 10 years, and what you did right now might be like, that's really bad, all right? Because like as we evolve, like we learn things, and you see a huge improvement in your journey. So don't aim for the perfection. And yeah, that's the thing. Like I did this I did this a lot, like in early in my journey, where I want to make like one best artwork, then I can upload to the internet. So yeah, a quick overview. Yeah, starting with the basics, growth mindset, doing with something very intention. Start drawing the subject matter that you really like. Don't wait for the perfect artwork. So then the another common pitfall I see is we are consuming too much, not creating. All right, so consuming with creation. I think especially with the internet and social media era, we are consuming too much. And so what I would encourage you guys to do is like start creating. All right, you can consume, it's not bad, I'm not against that. You can consume, but not too much. Like there's so much out there in the internet. We are just like scrolling down, you're just like saving some post, and end of the day we are not like spending some time to create. So what I would encourage is like have this rule of 80-20. 80% of creating something, 20% of consuming something. So yeah, this is just for you, not for anyone else. Like just like spend your time to create, and don't focus on like, oh, what would be the outcome, like what would people say, and whether about my artwork. All right, whether they really like my artwork, or like whether this artwork would get like certain amount of likes, because there is so much self-doubt. I think we are not like creating something, we are just like always consuming. All right, so yeah, I'm going to like show the stuff with an example with my project. So yeah, this is just like about all the key things that I try to think about when I'm doing my project, personal projects, or like getting better at certain areas, not getting struck. Yeah, and the another key thing about like this, like I think this is what I just like put over here. You're not struck, you're just doing too much. And yeah, avoid different things at the same time. Okay, I want to get better at hard surface. I saw someone who is doing character design. I want to get better at character design. Then you want to do anatomy for that. You want to get better at anatomy, because all these topics as like subtopics, it requires a lot of time to master those areas. I want to do like painting studies. Like I saw someone who's doing like a daily painting studies. I'm going to follow that trend. So don't go into this rabbit hole of like doing so much stuff at the same time. You won't see any kind of a progress during this step. So try to pick one area. Let's say if you want to get better at like painting, and break it down into like subtopics. Okay, I'm going to pick paintings, but also I'm not going to focus on colors, I'm going to focus on values. So you can even like break it down into even simpler stuff. Like let's say starting with something simple subject matter, rather than just like going a very complex architecture and design and storytelling images. So yeah, avoid doing this of like doing like different topics, different areas at the same times, because you get overwhelmed, then you don't see any kind of a progress and growth. So yeah, then I encourage you guys to track your progress. So every week, like okay, let's say we are doing it for 60 days. So every week track a progress and do a self-reflection, and you can have like someone accountable to do that. So yeah, tracking the progress is really, really important. Self-reflection is really, really important. So yeah, don't try to compare with anyone else. That's another thing. Comparison, right? If someone is doing certain things like, oh yeah, he's doing really good, like my work is not still there. All you need to do is like what you're doing right now, like what you'll be doing in next few years. Like it's like self comparison is what is really important. You don't need to like compare someone else. So I think, let's say if you're going to gym, a guy who just like lives for like a lot of years, you can't like compare with him. So if you need to like start your fitness career, you just need to like start simple, like lifting like basic weights. You can't go and lift 100 kg on day one. It's the same kind of a thing. In art or any kind of a skill sets, like don't compare with other people. So they are on their own journey, we are on our own journey. So compare your progress of like how you're performing this week and next month. So that's a healthy thing to do. Don't try to compare. Cool. Let's now get into, let's say, the way I approach this concept, to not get struck, to see like a growth. Like even the growth for me is like, I don't want to jump. Okay, I'm at like a 50%. I don't want to go and jump to like 70%. I'm just like trying to like get better at like 1% better every day concept. I'm a strong believer on that, and I want to, let's say if I'm doing a certain thing right now, like let's say value sketches, then I try to think about like how can I do it better, how can I do it efficient, not worrying about like, oh, I want to do it in particular style, which brushes can I use. Like I try to have this experimental process. I try out different things and make the process very fun. That's the important stuff. Make your process fun. All right, like that is very, very crucial, because if there is no fun, you don't repeat it, you don't enjoy it. All right, make the process very fun. So yeah, I'm going to like explain this project with whatever things that we discuss right now. So yeah, I did like let's say close to 50 to 60 images last year and early this year. And so yeah, this is like a really good project to discuss about the topic, which is like, let's say, not getting struck. All right, so for me the key thing is, this is my philosophy, where less is better. So what I did is, I want to get better at my composition, values, and like painting skills and brush economy. So these are the things that I want to improve. So I'm not focused on 3D. I'm not like worried about like colors and stuff. So what I did during this process, especially the first week, so I started simple. All right, you see like ruins. All right, people say that, oh, you shouldn't draw ruins, and like that is easy to do. That's completely fine. When you're building a routine and a habit, you just need to start simple. All right, you just need to build that discipline. So start simple. Pick your favorite subject matter. Like, okay, I like to draw rocks. I'm going to draw that. And this is not to prove anyone, and this is just for you. All right, if we want to improve our work. So what I did is like, I started simple and picking the easy subject matter. Things were getting a little bit like more comfortable. I started exploring with like maybe 1 or 2 brushes. I'm trying to understand like how that brush works. How can I control that brush? So I'm not worried about like the style and all those stuff. For me, the main goal is like sketching, values, and like, let's say, getting better at like, let's say, brush economy and all those stuff. So then once I started simple, right, like I'm getting into the rhythm is like slowly building. Then I'm like moving into the second zone, which is like picking your favorite subject matter. So now I'm like, oh, I really like drawing alien plants and vegetations and stuff. Slowly, once you're getting the rhythm, next is like slightly adding a little bit complexity, not too much. All right, start simple. Like I'm drawing vegetations, coming up with like interesting compositions and stuff, camera angle, brushwork. I kind of really enjoy doing this, and now I can see a slight growth. All right, this is so this is like if this is a graph. We started, let's say, day 1. This is day 60, and maybe first week is like boring, but this is to build the momentum. we might see a little bit of like improvement, but let's say that's like day 7. Then the next week I saw a little bit of improvement. So because like I'm also slowly enjoying it, I'm picking my favorite subject matter. So once you've done that, what I'm trying to do for the next step is I have a bunch of images I can show you guys. So now I'm finding, okay, I want to draw a certain subject matter, but I'm not sure how. So this is where, even though I'm just doing like all these complex scenes that you see over here, one thing you can find a common in every image of this is the horse. All right. So what I did is I spent like maybe a week to 10 days of just painting images that has horse as like main element. Even though these images has these architectural elements, this is like a little bit like more complex because this is the one that I did at like the end. When I started out, I might have done this. You see like my drawing, the painting of the horses looks like this, but end of that week I did like really dynamic sketch. So what I did is like I picked one area to focus and getting better at that area. All right. This can be anything. This can be just like architecture, horse, or anything that you want to improve. So because you know your weakness, so try to understand your weakness and pick that area and start painting or designing or sketching. All right. So every image that I did has like horse in it. So I'm trying to draw them from different angle. Again, trying to study. So like let's say I'm doing this based on reference, but still I need to do a little bit deeper research. All right. This is what makes the process very fun, because like before I tend to avoid that. Now I'm getting into understanding about the subject matter deeply. So like maybe that's the reason I'm not like straight away jumping into different subject matter. All right. I'm giving a little bit of amount of time, ample amount of time to study that. So whatever it takes, go, because we have internet right now with like unlimited amount of resources. Like, okay, you can go and like watch about like a horse motion and like understanding their anatomy, take a notes, draw those stuff, then incorporate that into a painting, right? So the more you do, you'll get like more confident. You can see like confidence is there in my sketches. Slowly I'm trying to understand like those forms, trying to understand the anatomy and all those stuff. So yeah, that's the third step. The first one is like starting simple, picking a simple subject matter. Don't worry about like what other people think. Then picking your favorite subject matter to draw because it is like very fun. Then picking one area or two areas that you want to improve, give some amount of time, and the next step is where I think right now we are almost there to like a month of time, right? So you see my progress the first week to end of a month. So now I'm handling a little bit like more complex scenes. If I would start with like this kind of a complex scenes, I would have given up easily. All right. So try to start simple. And the first step is like where I'm experimenting with styles. So this is the time where I build a habit. So this is where I'm just right now trying out different techniques. Like this image has like a different technique. This image has a different technique and brushwork. You see, like this is like very loose and like more watercolor kind of an approach, with like more like suggestive information. It's not like refined. Then this is like a little bit like more complex scenes. I'm also trying to play with a particular brushes and experimenting with that brush. And so now I'm understanding, all right, experimenting and having fun during this process. And I'm not trying to mimic anyone. So And so that's the crucial thing that you need to do is like don't try to mimic their art style, because like you can't do that. That's their voice. All right, you need to find your voice, what you really like. So for that, I think you can start experimenting. I think when I did this artwork, I started liking a certain brush, and like how it behaves, and I started controlling that brush. Now I understand like how to use that particular brush after doing, let's say, 20-30 artwork. Now once I land to that position, right, this is where I'm finding my style, finding my voice. Now I'm just like using just that one brush and like trying to paint and explore freely, and I'm not trying to mimic other artists. So this is my voice, and it took me at least 50 to 60 days to reach to that position. I've given that time, being patient and having fun during the process, and enjoying, and without worrying about like what other people's might think, and painting the subject matter that I really like. Like let's say 1 week this is like some kind of scenes like this, like the next week I'm doing like some dystopian world, and even I'm trying to push myself each week to improve on certain things. Let's say for this image, is basically I was obsessed with like the rainy wet floor. Then I started doing like those images, and trying to add like a lot of storytelling inside my images, and trying to like sketch a lot of complex shapes and forms, and yeah, like this is the another scene, trying to add characters and like draw them in motions and stuff, still keep it loose and sketchy, not get too much into the details. So every images teaches me something, and I'm also like picking different subject matter, and it's not about like I'm trying to follow like what other people are drawing right now. I'm just picking the subject matter that I really like one day it could be like scene like this, the one day I'm just doing dystopian world, the next day I'm just doing the interior, the butcher market scene. So yeah, it's all about like finding things that you really like and start like sketching that. So I think if you do it in this way, at least this approach really helped me to like not get stuck. All right, I'm just like focusing on one thing, and breaking down into chunks and still experimenting and having fun. I'm not trying to do too many things at the same time. So again, if you're a beginner artist, give this a try. All right, don't focus on fancy tools and stuff. Like again, don't have too many things at the same time. Like let's say, like another analogy is like if you're going for dinner, if you have too many dishes to try at the same time, it becomes like very blunt. All right, you can't feel or taste one particular food. So I would encourage to keep it simple. All right, and don't try to do everything at the same time, and don't compare with other people. If someone is doing hard surface design, and if you really enjoy doing hard surface design, you can do it too. And I'll try to like discuss this in the upcoming videos. Again, if you guys have any kind of questions, feel free to drop that into the comments, and I hope this like a small video gives a little bit of clarity. I know I was really hesitant to like do this kind of a videos, which I used to talk about this with my students a lot, and I thought like I want to do this art tips series videos for a very long time. So I think yeah, finally I'm doing it. Again, if you guys have any questions, yeah, drop that in the comments, and hope you guys like enjoy this small session. Yeah, thank you so much.